2026, and you're listening to the Tech Addicts podcast. Brace yourself. This week, the OnePlus Watch 4, Topping's new DAC, the Turtle Beach mouse has a screen on it, SNK are doing a new NeoGeo, and Roberts have announced 2 new portable digital radios. Hello and welcome to the Tech Addicts podcast. It's me, your host, Gareth, and I'm joined as ever by Mr. Ted Salmon. How are you, Mr. Ted Salmon?
Hello, I'm hot. Weather forecast, actually Friday and Saturday, we're recording on Sunday, Friday and Saturday were just unbelievably, annoyingly hot. Today it's cooled down a little bit, but the sun has come out again, and it's going to be roasting me no doubt soon. So I've got a fan on, hopefully you can't hear that. And this is it, the beginning of the long, no doubt, blazing, bloody summer. Moan, moan, groan, whinge, whine. Is it hot there?
Yeah, it is. Great. Absolutely great. Yesterday was a lovely day. I got the back lawn cut, and I got the front lawn trimmed around the edges, ready for the front lawn to be cut today. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I fixed a few things. I broke a brush, and I had to mend my shaft and get it put back in there. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Actually, I mended a chair yesterday. I surprised myself. One of the springs went in my dad's armchair, and I turned it upside down and cut the bottom material out away from it. And there was 2 springs broken holding the seat in place, and I took them out, and I did a Heath Robinson. Yeah, Aidan Bell would have been proud. I got a bunch of stuff from the garage and shoved it in order to make up for the fact that there was 2 of 5 springs missing. I was very pleased with myself.
I wonder if YouTube and TikTok are having this effect on people. Whenever they find something that needs to be fixed, they start thinking about how to engineer. Because I was thinking that yesterday. Whenever I was, I had my shaft in my hands down in the shed, and I was looking for a ways to be able to mount it. And I was looking around. I found 4 good solid screws and thought, shove that in there, and no one's going to be complaining.
Up to the hilt?
Up to the hilt, and got this ring piece and put it around there as well. Tightened it up a good bit. What are they called, those ring things? You put them on pipes for when you're fixing your plumbing, and you tighten a screw and it gets tighter around it. I don't know.
We call this is the innuendo episode.
In your end. No, we're not going to do that. So yeah, I was quite chuffed, and I fixed the brush, and I was able to continue brushing up. Although looking at my security camera this morning, I'm like, why did I bother? My driveway's a mess.
Yeah.
It is. It's like I didn't touch it with a brush.
Yeah. What you want is a power washer, a hose. Do it with water.
Oh, that's the next thing. I think it needs a good service. I had it out last week, and was giving it a good going over, and it was failing. It was leaking all over the show, and there was there was no force, there was no pressure coming out of it, and it was just dribbling.
You can quit the innuendos now.
Well, it's a true story. You big child. You big child. Talking as a serious gardener here. Right. Yes. So we've clarified the weather's great here. Lovely.
No, it's crap.
Depending on your term of reference, I suppose. So, long may it continue. I sat out and had a beer last night. It was lovely.
Yeah, that's nice. We're on the same page with that one.
Good call, good call. So, well, without mentioning anything that's in the news, all assassination attempts and car bombs in Dunmurry and things like that, we could move on with more exciting news that I'm sure you're here to listen to. Because coming up on this show, we have the OnePlus Watch 4 Titanium smartwatch.
We also are looking at a discrete Topping DX9 DAC and plugging into someone's review.
Okay, there's a browser tool which tests hearing differences between FLAC and MP3 audio formats.
Turtle Beach Command Series MC7 wireless gaming mouse with touchscreen.
Nice. SNK are releasing a modern NeoGeo AES console with authentic gimmick experience.
And lastly, we go all retro and talk about Robert's radios.
Terrific. We also have Bargain Basement and a little bit of chin wagging about various bits and pieces as we go along. Cool. So, at the top of the show, it's the OnePlus Watch 4, which is a new titanium smartwatch featuring up to 16 days of battery life. It's based on the Oppo Watch X3 design with some enhanced specifications. Inside of it, there is a processor, which people will be relieved to hear, and that processor happens to be the Qualcomm Snapdragon W5 Gen 1. It also has a BES 2800 coprocessor, and those who know those should really go out and do something else with their lives. It's got 2 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of flash storage. It's got a 646 milliamp hour battery, which is the reason for the 16 days. It's got a power saving mode, and it gets 5 days of normal use. But you can play about with that. The display is a sapphire crystal protection thing, and it's made from It's got a titanium body, and it's water resistant up to 50 meters. And if you have a look at some of the articles around this, there's a very AI enhanced picture of a dude surfing with a headband and one of these strapped to his wrist. It runs Google's Wear OS. It's got Gemini and NFC for payments. Ted, what do you think of this, and are you excited about those health and fitness features that they've packed in here too?
Certainly not. But what I will point out is that 16 days of power in power-saving mode, which means that nothing is working on the thing. There's no always-on display. That if you actually liven up the screen for 2 minutes, it suddenly drops by a day. I found this because Joe Hickey from PSC, my PSC co-host, he sent me his OnePlus Watch 2, which I know is not a OnePlus Watch 4, but that had similar claims of really, really long battery. But the same was true of that. As soon as I put my always-on display on, it just killed it completely. Wear OS is just no good with batteries, and 646 milliamp hours might sound a lot for a watch, but I don't buy it. What I will say, though, is that titanium is really nice, of course, and the watch he sent me, which I've now sent back to him, was indeed very nicely designed, and I like the button layout, and I think I do quite like what OnePlus have done with their watches. It's just that I'm kind of baked into different ones, and so it didn't suit me in that respect. But yeah, it was a nice watch, and I'm sure this one will be even nicer, as long as OnePlus stay in business, of course.
Curious addition there you added that you had sent it back to him. Is that to cover any sort of future legal lawsuits that you say, oh, it hasn't arrived in the post? I can't imagine why.
You've lost me there. I sent it back to him because he wants to sell it, and I didn't want to buy it.
All right, okay. It's not to cover your tracks or anything. No, I said on the Tech Addicts podcast that I sent it back. No, that's fine in front of a judge. Yes, it has ECG monitoring built into it. It's got heart rate monitoring, SpO2 sensor, skin temperature sensor, 100 plus sports modes for those who need to play every sport under the sun, and 60-second simultaneous sensor data collection. and it's available from the OnePlus website. It's priced around, well, it's $342 American dollars, and that works out differently in pounds and pence, but you can buy it off of AliExpress if you need to as well, if you are so inclined. Yeah,
I bet it'll be £299.
Yeah. Well, see, my wife has a smartwatch, one of the older Galaxy sports watches, and she charges it every night, notices the battery sometimes gets her through the day, but I've kind of adopted a different way of charging mine, and whenever I sit down and watch television or something like that, I've got a charger there, and then I've got one in front of me in my office here, and then I have one in the car, so I just drop it onto that whenever I'm doing something that doesn't require me to use the watch in any way. I just keep it topped up that way.
Good grief!
But I bought a new strap for it. It's a cool strap. It's probably worth mentioning. I don't have it here because it's down in the living room. But it's got a little magnetic clip that clips on, but it's a material thing, so I can just throw it off and on as I pick it up. I do forget it from time to time, which is a bit of a pain, but my phone reminds me and I have to turn around and go back and get it.
It's still a pain in the arse to have to do that, to remember to take it off and wherever you are, put it on a bloody charger. You know, when you compare that to a proper watch from years gone by, even with a battery in, you just put it on your wrist and it's on your wrist and that's it. Even my Moto watch, which is not Wear OS, and it too is supposed to last 16 days, but it doesn't because I have the always on display on. But it lasts a good week or more before I have to put it back on the charger. The battery's great, but it's Wear OS that kills these batteries. You know.
Yeah, it is constantly running. But you know, I don't use my smartwatch exclusively. I do have clockwork watches, analog watches, not smart watches, dumb watches, and I will wear those. It just depends what kind of mood I am in when I get out of bed. I think that's the best way to do it as well. You don't feel yourself a slave to your watch. I certainly don't wear it whenever I sleep. Ooh, that's creepy. It gets smelly too. Anyway, moving on. Topping, one of the nice names that we have whenever it comes to DACs. Topping has released a new DX9 discrete DAC, and this is a premium Chinese audio device that combines DAC with a preamp and a headphone amplifier, and it functions with a proprietary technology for high-end fidelity audio performance. Ted, can you take us through this one?
All I can say, the first thing that jumped out at me with this is that it's got a big window on the top of it, which is really nice because one of the selling points here is that you can see inside. You can see what it's doing through this kind of orangey sepia red window, which is fair enough, and you can see what's going on inside. But my question was that if I opened up my computer and looked at the things inside it, there wouldn't be anything to see, really, would there? This is suggesting that inside that there are lights and there are movements of mechanical gears turning round, something to actually look at rather than just looking at a motherboard and a bit of RAM and a chip or something, which is just kind of stationary. I don't get the point of the interest in seeing inside it if nothing's going on inside it, and I don't believe there would be. What I do like about this, however, is that the display on the front, I think that's really nifty, where you've got stereo channels left and right, each side of a main knob, and you've got little graphic equalizer things going on, and that's all fun. That's very 1970s and 80s for me, and I love watching that dancing about while I'm listening. So that's cool. But I don't get this... I'm sure it's really powerful and it's a great machine and all the rest of it, but I don't get this novelty of being able to see in when nothing's moving or nothing's lighting up. Or perhaps it is.
Well, I think there's two things here. Well, one, it's very happening with the times. People do that. You know, you look at a gamer's computer, you can see in, and there's RGB and stuff like that. But you're quite right. This doesn't have RGB. Instead, it has a like a sort of dim orange light, but maybe you can play with that. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't quite see that in the specs.
Is that a light? I thought that was the colour of the glass. But
No,
anyway,
I imagine there is a light in there to light up the electronics so you can see the innards.
Okay.
But these sorts of things you generally stack. But then you're not going to stack this because this is a DAC preamp and headphone amplifier all in one, so you've got nothing really to put on top of it. Yeah, unless you'd put this on top of something else.
Yeah.
Not that you've got anything to put it on. Yeah, okay. It has they're the key features: the proprietary PSRM DAC architecture with 131 decibel signal to noise ratio. It's got a custom I/V conversion circuit. There's a balanced hybrid relay resistor network. It's got powerful headphone outputs, which are 780 milliwatts per channel into 32 ohms, and 10,000 milliwatts per channel into 16 ohms. It's got the Topping's NFC-A architecture for driving planar headphones. PEQ, which is parameter equalizer, with a 10 frequency band for customizable sound profiles. It's a headphone crossfeed which simulates HRTF.
HRTF, yeah, that's good.
Room acoustics. Are you taking the piss? And it's got that aesthetic design, which is very nice. The multifunction knob that you were going on about earlier is a rotary control that's customized with the Aurora UI display. The big drawback of this is that it costs 1,300 quid. Well, that's going to be a bit of a dent, but audiophiles, I think, would probably quite happily pay for this because it's a good-looking thing, and especially with graphic equalizers on the front, that's something that people love. Or spectrum equalizers on their that thing on the front, uppy downy bars, that'll really get people going. But the other reason for the plastic on the top, the tempered glass window on the top, is it cuts down on the cost of it in that respect, maybe to Topping more so than the end user, because it's not a big lump of metal across the top. It's a smaller lump of metal with glass inside of it, so it probably just might not cool as easily. The whole thing doesn't act as a full heat sink, but it gives you something to look at, and maybe you could put some moss in there and create a greenhouse or something. I don't know. I like it. I think that kind of look works, and it's something to identify today, because this wouldn't work back in the 70s or 80s. It would have to have walnut laminate or something like that ironed onto it. So yeah, no, this works for me. I like it. I'd have one.
Yeah, it's certainly nice, and I'm sure that audiophiles would really appreciate it, particularly as it's got all those different outputs. It's got the 4.4 millimeter and 6.35, so you can phase the 6.35 down to 3.5 millimeter with an adapter, presumably, well, a good quality one. But it's also got XLR outputs, which I didn't realise you could output with XLR to peripherals like speakers and stuff, but obviously you can. I thought XLR was just a microphone input thing, but obviously not. I've learned that today.
Yeah, guitar amps would do that. They would have XLR out and then into guitar speakers, wouldn't they?
Right. I don't know. That would mean you'd need an XLR socket on a guitar, and I don't remember seeing those. They're usually 6.5 millimeter jacks, aren't they? I don't know. Anyway, that little bit was lost on me a bit.
Well, maybe an audiophile can explain it to us.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we'll busy ourselves up with browser tools that test hearing differences between FLAC and MP3 audio formats. There's a particular Reddit user, according to TechRadar, who has created this new tool that allows users to conduct blind listening tests between lossless FLAC files and various MP3 bit rates to determine if they can hear the difference. I guess I would very much count on the type of headphones that you were using, but it might mean that you could call someone's bluff if they think that they know what they're talking about. The tool creates 16 kilobits per second, 64 kilobits per second, 128 kilobits per second, well, I should just summarise them all at the end, and 320 kilobits per second MP3 versions from a single FLAC file. Users can seamlessly switch between the versions without jumping back to the start of the songs. So it's kind of like playing one of those remakes of a computer game where you can press a button that gives you the old graphics and then press another button that puts you through the new remastered graphics. What do you think, Ted? Have you had a go?
I have, yeah. I tried it out, and much like most of these people who are being interviewed as part of this article, I can't tell the difference. No, all right, I might not have the good enough equipment to be able to hear the difference, but honestly, I just can't. And they've got people that are sound engineers here that they're interviewing, and they're also saying I can't tell the difference. The bloke who's written the article says it turns out that I'm deaf because he can't tell the difference either. And so
how does he know it works?
Well, exactly. So this thing about human ear only being able to hear certain levels. I don't know. I mean, our friend Gavin Fabiani-Lemond might disagree, and he might say, yeah, absolutely, I can hear this. But I can't, and I don't know that most people could. And this article kind of supports that, really. But it's interesting that this guy has thrown up this, this free to use tool to just do in your browser, which worked really well. So have a go, dear listener and dear co-host.
Hopefully, yeah, if we can get Gavin to have a listen. He's got a good ear, so yeah. Good plan. All right, moving on to Turtle Beach. Turtle Beach Command Series has returned with the MC7 wireless gaming mouse, and this has one key feature added in. It's a wireless gaming mouse, but that features a 2.25-inch touchscreen on the left side that can be used for various productivity and gaming functions. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's got switch profiling, it's got triggering macros, it's got launching apps, and it's got controlling OBS. The sensor is an owl, like the bird. Owl eye, I'm trying not to be Northern Irish here, an owl eye, 30K optical sensor with between 50 and 30,000 dpi range, 750 IPS tracking speed, and a 70G acceleration. It connects with a 8,000 hertz polling over 2.4 gigahertz. And it also has USB and Bluetooth support. What do you think? Would you have one of these?
No, it's very silly, isn't it? And at first, I don't think you mentioned the fact that the battery only lasts for 10 hours. So, my rechargeable battery, it's annoying enough that I've got to recharge it every sort of 2 or 3 weeks, but every 10 hours. Well, the saving grace on that, I suppose, is the fact that it comes with, apparently, a dock. So I suppose you could argue that you're unlikely to sit for 10 hours at a time using all of the LCD display all the time for more than 10 hours at a time. So when you've finished, you just like a Razer mouse with a dock, it just lives on the dock when you're not there. So I suppose you would get away with that. If you don't use the LED and the LCD stuff and all the rest of it, it says that you can get 15 hours out of it, but I think that's the main thing. And also, you know that where the screen is, it's got to be your mouse, your left thumb that's going to do that. Well, if you're right-handed, is it? No, it's a left hand. It is a right-handed mouse, isn't it? Yeah. So it's going to be your left thumb that does the controlling of that, and it's going to take something to learn where your thumb goes for what. particularly if you've got no tactical feedback through a clicky button or something. You need to kind of have to watch it. You'd have to look at what you're doing all the time. I don't think this has got any, apart from novelty factor, has got any hope of being sold. How much is it? 159 quid. Oh, 139.99. I don't know. Would you buy one?
Absolutely, because that's no dock. It's a space station. No, it's not. It's a battery charger, and it comes with swappable batteries, so you can take out the battery that you're using, pop it into the charger, and then put the other one back into the mouse to keep you going.
Oh, I see. You don't put the mouse on the dock.
No.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
It's a very nice design, and the wee dongle thing goes into the mouse battery charger, so you can plug this into you plug the charger into your computer, and then plug the dongle into the charger.
Well, that's even
if you
worse.
need to.
That's even worse, because that takes you back to like a DSLR camera setup where you've got to take the bloody battery out of the camera, put it into the hoping you've not lost the charging device. I've got a Nikon D300 which sits in a drawer here, and that's one thing that annoyed me with that you can't charge the bloomin' thing inside it. You've got to take the battery out, put it in this charger, hope you haven't lost the charger, and then charge it up and then put it back in. So you'd need two batteries. Does it come with two? Oh yeah, it does. So it comes with two batteries. I don't buy this idea at all.
You can't half tell it's hot there, folks, because Ted's grumpy already. Right. No, I think this is a great idea. It's kind of for desktop PCs where someone's sitting at their computer and they maybe don't take it with them, they don't have it hooked up to a laptop, so you can have this running into the back of your computer. You don't have to put the dongle into the charger if you don't want to. You can put it directly into your computer if you're that way inclined, but it's just a convenience thing. And then you can swap the batteries as you need to. Yes, you might take the mouse with you and then get caught short and run out of battery, and you're not able to quite easily go and replace the battery, but I still think this is a pretty funky little device. Yeah, well, it's got that 8000 K polling, which is, that's one of the reasons why Logitech mice have such great battery lives, because they're not constantly polling the computer whenever you use them. I think my MX Master 4 that I have, it's 120 or 240 hertz or something like that, so it's very low, and that's why the battery lasts for bloody ever. Mm-hmm. But that screen as well is obviously going to drain the battery life. But it's got, you could turn down the brightness, turn the screen off, and not use it. It'll last for 15 days. Yeah,
it's a bit like the OnePlus Watch. It'll be great if you don't use it.
Yeah. No, I'm on. I like this. I really love. I think the benefits of having that screen there and being able to customize the buttons and things like that, and being able to change stuff are great. See it on the fly when you're in game, and then be able to mute your microphone from there rather than having to go and take your mouse or take your hand off the mouse and change things. Yeah, I'd work for that. And I imagine you can change the screen so that it will smartly know what you're doing and then update the screen. So if Ted, you were to go into the Valley Diary and start manipulating, it can have another list of features there, and then whenever you come out of that and you start playing your Call of Duty that you get into, then you can change it. It changes on the fly. That would be cool.
One of the things that they mention in this is the control of OBS, which is the software that creators use, isn't it? So they're obviously expecting people to put editing tools as their options on that little display, so that it makes editing easier. Use
your OBS, which is where gamers record their screens with that software. They can flip over to Adobe whatever and edit it, and different tools come up there. So
right, you can get one then. I'll allow it.
But I just bought myself a Logitech MX Master 4, and I like it. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough this morning. All right, next up is SNK, because they are releasing a new console. And the NeoGeo AES console is a modern upgrade while maintaining full compatibility with the original arcade games that were put out on the original NeoGeo back in the day for the horrendously rich people who could afford them. It's coming out on November... No, wait, that's wrong. It's the standard and 35th anniversary hardware will be released on November 12th. I'm guessing that's of 2026. And it's going to be priced around...
It says that in the graphic, doesn't it? Pre-order now, out 12th of November 26.
Right, okay. There's going to be a standard edition and a 35th anniversary edition, which doesn't actually have any prices yet, but the standard edition is going to be £179.99. And people might think, that's brilliant for a Neo Geo. That's much cheaper than they used to be. Well, kind of, yeah. It's probably actually around the same price as what... they were a good bit more. But the cartridges are going to be 70 quid, which is a bit worrying. But that's kind of where they were beforehand. There's discrete quality of life upgrades, including language selecting and overclocking capabilities as well. There's an on-screen BIOS and DIP switches at the bottom panel for instant hardware configuration. It's got full compatibility with the original NeoGeo AES cartridges and instant switching between different display modes, much like we were talking about but a few moments ago. The original price was over $649, which they say is over $1,200 today, with $200 per game cartridge. So yeah, it's a little bit different whenever it comes to price wise, but it's still a bloody expensive unit for people to buy.
When was this doesn't ring any bells with me at all. What year were we talking about here with the original?
Oh, the late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
It had such classic games as Metal Slug, King of Fighters, Shock Troopers, Magical Lord. These are all being re-released as well on day one. There'll be Metal Slug, King of Fighters 2002, Garou, Mark of the Wolves, Big Tournament Golf, Shock Troopers,
Whoa.
Samurai Showdown V Special. Do you know Big Tournament Golf?
Yeah, well, that's the only one that I've got any chance of knowing.
Oh, right, okay. Pulstar, Twinkle Star Sprites, Magical Lord, and Overtop. There's going to be the arcade stick, there's a memory card as well, and a gamepad. So there's lots to be excited about if you're a Neo Geo fanboy, or you really lusted after one when you were younger and were never able to quite afford one. You can get one today and put some of your hard earnings into £70 game cartridges that are the same essentially as the Nintendo Switch.
That second box that presumably it comes with, the controller, that's got an interesting kind of array of buttons where your fingers, your presumably your right hand of your fingers will go next to the joystick. I've never seen a design like that, I don't think, before.
Well, that's the arcade stick. You see, Neo Geo games were where you went and played a game in an arcade. It would be considerably better than the Nintendo or Super Nintendo port that you might get when you buy it home, because it has to be downscaled to play on that older console. The Neo Geo was the most accurate port of the arcade game that you could get, and they were really big business. I'd say more so in Japan than they were over here, but some folks did get them over here and in America as well. And they cost so much because they were so close to the arcade, so they had to mimic the arcade's input functions, so they would have more buttons generally, and it would be that you'd sit with it on your lap and have as close to an arcade experience without having to go down to the arcade.
Right. And plug it into your telly.
Yeah.
So that arcade stick doesn't come with it. It's extra money for that.
It is, yes. You can buy it as well. But whenever you buy the better edition, the 35th anniversary edition, I think you get it included. I'm not sure Not sure. It shows a box with the two of them together, but I can't see whether or not that is. I don't know. There's more information to come down the line to exactly how this works. There's also a limited edition white edition, which could be the 35th anniversary. I don't know. I wouldn't want the white. It doesn't look particularly good.
70 quid for a game, though.
You've got a Nintendo Switch. I'm sure you pay that all the time.
I wouldn't pay 70 quid, no. I think the most I've ever paid for a game is probably about 20 or something like that. But then you know, on new release, if you bought the latest Mario Kart cartridge, you probably would be up to 50, 60 quid, but I wouldn't.
Oh, okay. I'm just noticing it. Well, there's a 1080p output and HDMI output, obviously, but it says that more games and accessories will be released throughout the year.
There's more coming.
Yeah.
I'll just play the golf. I was playing, talking about gaming, I found this site the other day called retrogames.cz, right? And you play retro games in the browser, and after about 10 minutes of playing Tetris and some other game I had to go at, I was just like, what are you doing? This whole gaming thing is just such a waste of time, and what on earth is the point of it? I just don't get this kind of gaming thing. I'm sorry, you're on your own.
It's just a wind down. Whenever you have a rough day or you need to be divorced from reality a little bit, you can go into another reality and blow off some steam there, kill some zombies, or shape some blocks, rotate blocks until you're happy.
So it's for angry people. It's for angry people who want to take out their frustrations on other people.
Yes, by rotating blocks. Yeah, that's obvious. All right. Speaking of angry people, do you have a digital radio?
I do. I've got loads of radios, and I was just thinking before the show that we both like radios. We often bring them to Bargain Basement, and these two new Roberts ones look really interesting, and I would love to have one, but actually I know what would happen. Like the rest of my radios, I never turn them on. It's just madness. And part of the reason for that is because I don't like stations that churn me out news every hour, and stations that churn me out adverts every 5 minutes, and there's no real... The BBC, I suppose, is the closest you can get to non-invasive, but then you've still got news all over that. And so I tend to not bother with these kind of radios anymore in terms of buying them, but I like the Stream 219 and the Blue Tune 7 are the two Roberts radios in question. The bigger and better one of the two is obviously more capable. It's got more functions. It's got Spotify built in. But what I do like about it is that they have got 45-degree platters where where you see the thing. So if you're laying down or sitting down and it's across from you, you can still see it. And if you're looking at it on a desk, you can still see it. I also like the fact that there's a mention of album art being on that little display on the top. There's also, manual controls for tone, treble and bass, which is really nice. They do feel pretty retro, and they're not that expensive actually. I think the 150 quid it is for the more advanced one, and the other one is 100 quid. I think that's what it is. And yeah, I really like them. And Roberts radio, I've got a couple of Roberts radios, and they're really, really nice. But you probably got more than me, because you're always buying these like wind up radios with torches in and stuff like that, aren't you?
Well, I do from time to time, but I get wound up myself over digital radios, because can I get a signal? Bollocks, no. Absolutely
right, okay.
not. There's certain areas of the house where I can, but it depends. Some days, no. Some days, yes. I used to have one in the bedroom, and it would turn on in the morning as an alarm, but it wouldn't turn on if it couldn't get a station to pick up. And some days it would go, no, not trying, so the alarm's not going to go off. It didn't default to anything else. That was the bug. I used to have the bug. Remember that one? It was like a silver thing, and it had two eyes that would look at you. And I don't know what happened to that. That
don't remember that. No,
disappeared. It was a good radio when it worked, but yeah, it just where I live just seems to be devoid.
I've got it. Pure bug.
That's it.
I'll see a picture of it. That's very funny. It looks like a little robot.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that, actually. It's disappeared. But, yeah, I've had a number since then. It's really difficult to get... Do you remember a few months ago I bought the one that's got the solar panels on the back and the wind-up radio? It's looks like a military thing. That was more for me to be able to try and find a good place to get consistent signal. And I can put it all away. I can go around the house and set it in places and see how it works, and just leave it there for a few hours and playing away if it manages to keep signal. So I could go, I can put a radio there, and there's only two places really that I can put them in this house. So I'm better off with FM.
Yeah. And there are parts of North Wales where that is also true. My dad fights with DAB with his little Sony radio, and I say to him, just use FM. For one thing, the batteries will last much longer anyway. Well, I've set him up with Eneloops, so he does rechargeables now, but he desperately wants to use DAB because he can. And I said, just use FM. Honestly, Dad, you're listening to Radio 4, for goodness sake. It will sound the same.
Yeah. I went to a hotel. It was actually this time last year. I was in a hotel, and they had Roberts radios in every room. Didn't get any signal on them. And FM was a bit wishy-washy, so I don't know why they had them there. And they went to the nth degree to get good quality ones as well, not just cheap ones. I was thinking of saying to them, do you need these? I'll take them home with me if you want.
Somebody in the MeWe group posted a photograph from a hotel they were staying at the other day, and they got these Marshall... which one was it? It was one of the bigger, better Marshall huge speakers in each bedroom. And I thought, good grief, that must have cost them a pretty... I'm sure people must nick them.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought. But I've been to this hotel 2 years in a row, and it was still there the next year. So, unless they replace it with exactly the same.
Yeah, it's a new one.
Tell you what, I'll nick it next time I'm there.
These are the days of nicking the towel are gone. You nick the Marshall.
Yeah. Right, okay, well that about brings us to the end of the news, but Ted, you're going to take us on a little trip through the world of Google Photos.
Oh yeah, well, it's really just a feedback from last week's show where I was whinging and whining, as I do, particularly in the summer, about the fact that Google Photos on my Xperia phone was thumbnailing all of the files that were on my micro SD card. Okay, and I was saying last week that it was really annoying because even when you use the .no media trick and you put the .no media file into the root of the directory that you want to use, it didn't work because what happens then is applications, media playing applications like VLC, for example, don't get the media they need to then find out what's what on the card. So anyway, I chucked this problem at Gemini and worked over a couple of hours to find a solution, and a solution was indeed found in the end. And the solution is that you've got to do it very specifically so that the Android system sees the no media, but the VLC and other media players do not get barred from seeing it because of the no media file trick. And the way you do it is, right, pay attention now, you make a folder on the micro SD card in the root called whatever you want, but I called it video parent, okay?
Okay.
You put the .no media file inside video parent, right? Okay. So that says to the system, to the Android system, don't look in that file for any media, and so immediately Google Photos won't look in that folder. But if you start putting your videos inside that folder, it will still look at them, because apparently the Android system has got this built-in thing that if .no media is in the root of the card, then it ignores it anyway. So what you've got to do is you've got to make a second folder off of, in my case, video parent, let's say Ted's videos, and then inside Ted's videos you put all the media files you want to. So in the nested folder structure, you put it 2 layers down, and then you go back to your media player, in my case VLC, and you get VLC to re-index that folder and only what's in that folder, and that works fine. So then VLC sees all those files and it's very happy. And Google Photos, because it doesn't look in the second folder down, only in the first folder down, it sees the .no media and so just ignores it, and it doesn't see. So basically what you're doing is you're creating a folder inside a folder, but you're telling your media player that's where your media is, but Google Photos doesn't see it because you put it 2 layers down and put .no media in video parent. It's a bit complicated, but it's quite straightforward really when you get your head around it. And so that's it really. And when I'd done that, I mean, my Xperia 5 Mark V's got a poxy little 128 gigabyte storage on it, and I am able to keep that virtually empty because all of my media files and my audio books and just everything else that I want to use are on my 1 terabyte micro SD card, and it's just like, okay, it's a little bit slower than it would be on the internal storage to access, but once it's been indexed, the next time you go to it, that it speeds up completely acceptably to use and to read and write either way, to be honest. But anyway, that's the way you do it. You make a folder in a folder and put the .no media file in the first folder and put all your media in the second folder, which is nested out. I hope you kept up with that.
Yeah, that's quite a solution to a problem that really shouldn't exist in the first place. You got this from other people who have done the same thing, then?
Well, Gemini did, I guess, because otherwise she wouldn't know, would she? So I suppose some people must have fed her that information in order to get here.
Gee whiz, yeah, that's exceptional. Would you say that's a bit of an oversight on Google's side, or do they just want to know everything that's there?
No, they don't want people using micro SD cards. So they stopped building in niceties with people that use cards some years ago, really, and they're not interested. They want people to use internal memory. And to be fair, things are much simpler if you can use the internal memory. And as internal memory grows and grows, the storage on most Motorola phones, for example, now is 512 gigabytes. You can get less, but most of them are defaulting to 512 now. So if you work with that internal storage, it does all work much more nicely. And if I put a load of, for example, if I put on my Motorola phone a load of videos onto the internal storage on my, let's say, my Motorola Signature, then Google Photos doesn't see them. So Android has worked out that it shouldn't be looking and thumbnailing those things unless it's been told to, because inside the Google Photos app there's a bunch of toggles that you tell it what to look at and what to not look at. But unfortunately, when you introduce a micro SD card, that system, whatever you do with those toggles, it ignores it and it thumbnails them anyway.
Okay, yeah, that's what a pain. Absolutely. And then I'm trying to think of other ways that this could be utilised, or I suppose it is kind of as
It's all down to Google not wanting Android to be bothered with cards, and I do get that. Using a micro SD card in a phone it does feel a bit clunky and a bit archaic, and as storage becomes more and more on phones, it's just not needed. So it should work smoothly, and if you don't use a micro SD card, it does work smoothly. They want people just to not have them. They just want people to use phones as they are. And this is why, one of the reasons why Nexus phones and Pixel phones down the ages have never had removable storage on them, because Google, the Android system, doesn't really want to work with them. And you only really, apart from Sony, you only really find micro SD cards on mid to low budget phones these days, as you well know. And storage is becoming cheaper. Well, actually, with this whole RAM and storage thing going the other way a bit, perhaps that's not so true anymore. Maybe Sony will be the ones holding the torch and say, "Oh, we told you."
Oh, probably, yeah. And companies have made big deals out of how they have supported the micro SD card after most bigger brands had dropped it. But sometimes I think that it is more of a backdoor for people to be able to start manipulating the operating system, because it's one more way that Google have to cover an open gate to be able to get into the system to load custom firmware and things onto phones. Although the ironic thing there is that the likes of Graphene OS currently only really works on Pixel phones. And doesn't support anything else at the moment, with rollout coming soon.
Well, anyway, that was the end of my tale of woe about Google Photos. It was just so annoying that you go into Google Photos and you open it up and it takes forever to index. So you're sitting there waiting for half an hour or whatever, and then when you start scrolling down through your photographs, suddenly you get this whole bunch of videos and films and TV shows that you've ripped from your DVDs and whatever, and they're all just sitting there, and they're all sitting there on some fictitious date that someone dreamt up that is assigned to each file, and so they're all just kind of in a lump in there, just taking up space. They're not taking up too much space. They do slow the system down, but they're because they're only thumbnails. They don't actually work. If you tap on them, they don't roll the video. It's just that they're there as a thumbnail, and it's just annoying.
No. We've all been there. We've all had that sort of thing. But whenever you use something like Plex or one of those types of not advocating Plex, but that's probably the easiest way to get your media across. But whenever it comes to smaller independent videos or non-movie videos, maybe short 3-minute jokes or something like that, you'll get off the internet. It can get a bit annoying, and memes and stuff like that as well. It's a pain in the ass to have to go and filter out that sort of stuff, because it gets automatically backed up to Google Photos. If you don't have your particular folders set, or you've got a wife who doesn't know how to set her folders, and all of a sudden you've got hundreds of images and things like that are up in OneDrive and Google Drive that you have to deal with.
I'll tell you, I'll give you another quick bant, if you like, on the similar topic of folder structures and where stuff is that we are currently in the process of renaming and rejiggling the Camera Creations podcast. And I said to Gemini, I said, what happens if I delete my folder where the RSS file resides and all the MP3 files reside for the Camera Creations podcast that we've already done? And she said, as soon as you remove the file from your where podcatchers are looking, they will just not be able to index them, and no one will be able to listen to them, except... Mm-hmm. And I don't know if
dramatic pause there.
Oh, sorry, I got a frog in my throat. Except, and I don't know if this, I don't know about Apple in this process, but except for YouTube. So apparently, when you put your RSS feed up into YouTube, and I did know this, but I've forgotten. Differently to any other system out there, it actually uploads the actual content of the files. The MP3 files actually go up there, and they're then stored in Google, right? Because it becomes part of YouTube, and so because they're stored there, if you delete, which I'm going to be doing soon, the Camera Creations folder that's got all the MP3 files and the RSS file and the index file in it, if I delete that, all of them will still be working. In the end, Jim and I said to me that you can think of it as an archive, because that's what it's become. And other services, as I say, I don't know about Apple, but other services don't do that. They don't upload the whole thing to the service. Now, it might be if you've got peripheral things like podcatcher services where you pay for storage with them. That might be the same there, but I'm talking about just people using podcatchers, I suppose. Anyway, I if I did know that, I'd forgotten, and it was just an interesting thing for me to discover or rediscover that. Yeah, when I do this, that archive won't die. People will still be able to listen to the Camera Creations podcast. Did you know that?
No, but it doesn't shock me that they're not going to get rid of something that they can potentially use and keep using.
Yeah. To monetize it.
Uh-huh.
Keep people online. Keep people online, because then they'll look at adverts.
Because I've always wondered what would happen to, what was his name? That big YouTuber, PewDiePie. Is it PewDiePie? What would happen to his videos, or Mr. Beast, if he was to pass away? What happens to all the ad revenue thereafter? Does Google just pocket it all? Do you assign the ad revenue to your next of kin? Is it like a pension?
No, because what happens with Google accounts is that if you don't use them for 2 years, they delete them, and so if after 2 years of it piling up in the account or whatever, they'll just switch the account off if it's not used.
I don't think Google's going to do that to PewDiePie or Mr. Beast or any of the big YouTubers. No way. That's a cash cow for them. They're going to go, oh, we're making $16 million a week or month or whatever. No, 2 years? Yep, switch it off after that. We'll find someone else. No.
It might be that these big YouTubers are not using their personal Google account. So if you set up a more business-like Google account, enterprise account, maybe the rules are different. Don't know.
Yeah, there must be another level, because I've had a look through. I don't really follow mine at all, but I was thinking, what happens to mine after I die? Do I have to sign that over to my son, or does Google just make all of the money out of it, because there's a tiny amount of money that's paid every month out of it? So do I? Does that just get lost to Google, and do they then start deleting all the stuff? Will people be able to go back at a little timepiece and go, because now we put the podcast on YouTube, will they be able to go, oh, I remember back when I was a lad listening to Ted Salmon's wisdom and that other twat that he was talking to, what was his name? And, reminisce, because you do that with music, don't you? And you like to do that with movies, and you go back and revisit things that you loved. And you can do that with YouTube. You can go back and find YouTube channels that you loved years ago. There was one that just happened into my memory one day called Classic Game Room, and he just disappeared. His funny little reviews of old games, but he's still there. He's doing something else. But it made me think. Will people get nostalgic for older YouTube channels they loved when they were a kid, because they poured so much time into watching those videos?
I do believe that after 2 years of no activity, that for personal accounts it would just disappear. But I could be wrong. Maybe this archiving thing would overstep that 2-year thing and closing personal accounts. I don't know. One of our listeners will know. Tell us.
Yeah, Mr. Beast, if you're out there, let us know what your plans are for whenever you pass away. What happens to your legacy? Right, on a merrier note, we'll move into the bargain basement and find out if there's anything worthwhile. Ted, we'll start with you.
Samsung Galaxy Chromebook Plus. Now, just to upset you, this is not the i5 version, it's the i3 version. But it is 256GB, 8GB RAM, it's in Neptune Blue, and it's been reduced from 649 quid, which it hasn't been for some time, but it's now 399. And it has been prices in between before now, but 399 seems to be a lowish settle. So the Chromebook Plus, and apparently, according to Google, they have promised to continue to support Chromebooks until at least 2034, whatever they do with aluminium. So you are still pretty safe buying a Chromebook Plus, in my humble opinion.
Right. Promise. That's what we need. Yeah, a promise. Well, I've gone with a mini PC. The knee. Actually, come to think of it, I'm going to have a quick look at that Chromebook Plus, because I went to look at it earlier and I thought, nah. I wonder if it's one of those ones that's easy enough to shoehorn on another operating system. Can you de-Google this and put on a better Linux client?
You can, yeah. You can do what you like with it.
Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. You have to go in and undo screws and things like that and rip the thing apart. And even then it won't work. Anyway, the Nipo G, or Nipongi.
Nippo. It sounds a bit Japanese, doesn't it?
It does. This is, the E3B mini PC AMD Ryzen 7. Which is the 7735 HS, which is what I think I have in mine, actually, is down in price considerably. It's been reduced from £600 down to £459.99, and then there's a little voucher you can apply on it, which takes it down to £399.99. The big thing about this, which really caught my eye, is the fact that it's got 24 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. That's worth something to someone somewhere. It's got a 512 gigabyte SSD inside of it. It probably comes with Windows 11 Pro installed on it, but you can get that off as quickly as possible. There's a Radeon 680M graphics card inside of it, or graphics chip built into it, and it really looks like a nice little mini PC for a home lab. And it could obviously do your Plex encoding if you need it to. That graphics chip will work nicely on there. Yeah, I love the look of this. I would have one of these if I didn't already have something similar that only has 16 gigabytes of RAM, but this has 24. In the RAM crisis, this could be what you need.
It's very cute, isn't it? It's a shame it's got its own proprietary power input rather than USB-C. But that's the only thing I can find wrong with it. And it's very small, and I wonder how noisy it is. Because that's one thing that I came up against with these little boxes. When I was trying to do podcasting, my podcasting fellows, including you, I think, were saying, yeah, I can hear that. And I had to kind of move it across the other side of the room. But yeah, maybe they fix that with more modern ones. That they try and make them as quiet as they can, I suppose.
Well, this has the same chipset as the one there, and it's 2 feet away from the microphone, and you've never noticed it. Although you're probably going to notice it all the damn time now. Like whenever I told you, for the last year I've been using Bluetooth headphones, and you go, oh, right, I can hear a delay. I can hear a very tiny delay.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't hear for the last year.
What a waste of space.
Moving on, what's next?
You caught me out there. What's next?
Bang.
Oh, Bang & Olufsen, which I've never had any of their equipment from. But I do quite like the look of this BO Sound Explore speaker, portable Bluetooth speaker, IP67, 360 degrees sound, 27 hours of battery life, and it's got this really nice strap and great big kind of clippy thing to hang on to things. You can get it in 4 different colours, and it's currently reduced from 220 quid to 164, and they're offering me £32.80 a month for 5 months, and as far as I can see, this is the cheapest it's been, although it did once it almost got down on one Black Friday or something. So anyway, yeah, Bang & Olufsen, I've never had any. Have you ever had any of their stuff?
I don't think so, no. Actually, there was a shop local to me that sold them, and I went in and had a giggle at the prices. But no, I don't. Did I not have a car with Bang & Olufsen?
Oh, right, okay.
Inside? I think that was maybe about it. I'm trying to think if it's my current car. It's a Kia, so maybe it's no.
JBL.
I can't remember. Can't remember for the life of me.
No.
But yes, it's a good-looking little portable speaker, and it'd be cool fun to chuck around on the beach at that price. Going back to headphones, because I'm loving headphone prices at the moment, and everyone's going on holiday soon. They might not be going via plane, but you need at least a good pair of headphones to drown out the family. And that's the Sennheiser Momentum 4 wireless noise-cancelling headphones, which are down in price from £205 to £161.46. These are good-looking Bluetooth headphones that have specs. I saw the quoted battery time somewhere, but I'm not seeing it now.
60 hours.
There we go, 60 hours. Ted has his fingers on the button. Yeah, these are nice.
Well,
that's
without ANC turned on, of course.
Yeah, well, that's fine. It's probably only 5 hours less. But yeah, I think these are great looking little headphones, and they're the cheapest they have been since the start of March. Nice.
Yeah, they do look quite nice, I have to agree. As long as they're big enough for my lugholes. There's a Zoom ZDM1 podcaster pack, which I thought was worthy of mention, because it's been reduced from £93 to £64, and it includes a podcasting dynamic microphone made by Zoom. That is Zoom audio, not Zoom as in, Team Zoom. You get a pair of headphones, a tripod, a wind cheater thingy, and an XLR cable to get yourself going. And yeah, it just looks like a nice little kit if you were occasional podcast guest, or you were thinking about doing something and just wanted to put your toe in the water, so to speak. And they're offering me £21.44 for 3 months on this one, and this is definitely the cheapest it's ever been. So I wasn't aware of this. The podcaster pack.
Yeah, I've never seen that either. It's been out for a while, but yeah, it's a nice looking starter pack for anyone who needs it.
Indeed.
Lovely. Next up is the NeoGeo Power Bank. I have something very similar to this, but it's the cheaper version. This is a smaller and lighter 10,000 milliamp hour 20 watt fast charging power bank that has a USB Type-C cable built into it and a flashlight for portable charging. It uses the cable as like a lanyardy type affair, and then the USB-C plugs into the actual unit itself. NeoGeo's a pretty decent brand, I think. Some people have maybe mentioned that it's not quite the capacity of other ones that are around the same price, but I have one, and I don't think I've ever let it just go right down to zero. It's the kind of thing that just gets you out of a problem whenever you need to get out of a problem. But it's down from £27 to £19. And if you're going on holiday, you might need something like that to keep the kids shut up. Quiet. I suppose that'd be better.
I've got a couple of INEU stand Qi chargers, one by my bed and one on my desk, and they're cheap and cheerful, and they've always worked perfectly. Never been a problem with them, so I quite like the INEU brand personally. So there you go. The big one that I had to bring was the Fosse Audio SK01 headphone amplifier, equalizer, preamp, blah, 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 because it's a really gorgeous bit of kit. I think you'd really like this, and I think I might have talked about it before. I've had it for a couple of years now, and it's a real good. It's basically a headphone or speaker amplifier, and it's got a battery inside it. So you charge the battery by USB-C, and you can then use it wherever you want. Take it away with you, and you plug in whatever your source of audio is into one end, whether it's your phone or your computer, whatever source of audio, and then it's got a 6.5mm and a 3.5mm output for plugging in headphones or speakers or whatever you want to do, and then on top of it you've got real good analog controls of bass and treble and even middle. So there's a middle and a bass and a treble. And there's punchy in buttons which you can play with as well. One's called tone and one's called loudness, one's called gain, and you can press those in and out, and they feel like they're really, really well made. And I think they are really. The whole unit is made of metal, and I put a link in the show notes to the user manual, because I was trying to work out what happens if the battery inside it dies, and I think what they're suggesting is you can actually replace the battery. I'm not sure if you can do it yourself, but you can replace the battery if it dies inside, and it's the kind of thing where if you want to blow your head off with loud music, and you certainly can. This is just brilliant. You've got a pair of not so good headphones or earphones or whatever. Then use this to, in an analog, old-fashioned way, just adjust all the settings. It's a great little device, and I sometimes get it out and forget I've got it, and then get it out and charge it up and use it again. If the battery is dead, then it won't work, but you can use the thing as soon as you plug in the USB-C. So as soon as you're charging the battery, it will then work. But yeah, like as is usual with me, sat in a drawer, the battery kind of ends up being empty, and then it doesn't work. But essentially, the USB-C is a power cable, so you can, if you want to, just always use it on power. Really, really nice device, and it feels like it's made just really, really well. So that was my main item, I think, for Bargain Basement, because it has been reduced by 20%. Recommended.
Nice. Are the knobs on it smooth or stepped?
No, they're smooth. They've got a midpoint where it clicks into place. So each of them, the upright position, it stops there. It gives a bit of resistance, and the on-off dialing knob has got you can hear it. Look, it's got a clicky on-off thingy going on. So yeah, but they're not stepped in that sense.
Very good. So that's 80 quid down to 63.98. Very nice. Yeah, that's taking your headphones seriously, giving the care that you need. Possibly
or your speakers. Yeah, you can plug whatever you like into it.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I like that. All right, the last one I'm going to do is something that just caught my eye on Amazon. I thought it's not. I don't think it's down in any money at all from what it's been. No, it's at its original price. This is the Fuse Vert AT. It's a vertical record player.
Hey.
with an Audio-Technica cartridge built into it as well. It's a lovely looking device which has good old-fashioned wood grain to it, and you put your record on in a vertical position and it'll play it to you. There's a wee, it almost looks like a sort of calculator on the front with an LCD display, but takes USB. It's got tuning and volume and play, pause, preset, time scan, remember, snooze, mode, alarm, sleep. Oh, it's got an alarm in it. Ooh, I could use that instead of the bug. Right, very good. But yeah, it's. Oh, actually, no, it's gone back up in price. It had dropped down to £154.30p up until yesterday, and now today it's £225. Maybe that's why I put it in, because it was on deal and I'd just forgotten about it, because I forgot to actually do my bargain basement, but I made note of them. So yeah, it's back up to its normal price.
No. There's another button that says, oh, it's a slightly different model that's £154.99. The Rad Vert 3. I don't know what the difference is, but that's the cheaper one by the looks of it.
Yeah. The Rad Vert 4 has an FM radio. No, it doesn't. They both have FM radios. No, I don't see the difference either. Built-in speakers. No, built-in speakers there as well. Yeah. Don't know.
Oh, it hasn't got the Audio-Technica. I think that the stylus is, yeah, perhaps that's the difference. It's got a crappy stylus.
Right, okay. So you're paying a good bit extra for that as well. But this had dropped down to the original's price up until recently. So if you're buying one of these, wait for it to drop down to £154. But I just thought it was really quite a cool thing to have on your bedside table as an alarm clock.
Yeah, why not? And I can't imagine why anyone would want to play a record vertically. I can't imagine that they're so pushed for space that it's a style thing, isn't it? It's just a peccadillo, an interesting thing.
Oh, round the back, 33, 45, and 78.
78, blimey!
Yeah, this is proper.
I was just talking to my dad the other day about 78 because he had some 78 records, and I said I've got modern project turntables now, and there's no 78 setting. I don't think they make them, but this proves me wrong.
No, my mum's got one. Well, we haven't played it in a long time, but she has just one. I think it's an Elvis one. No, I can't remember, but she has one because I was always quite interested in it because it feels different as well. It's not made from vinyl. It's made of clay or something like that, or
right
something. It's a different material. I can't remember. I'll go around and see if I can nab it off her.
Yeah, she doesn't need it.
No. I haven't heard it in years. Buy one of these and then I can play it to her. Hey. Cool. All right. Well, if you want to get in touch with us, you can by emailing us gareth@techaddicts.uk. We are on Twitter as well. There's me on Twitter @GarethMyles, GarethMyles. I have my Mastodon and Blue Sky, and then my GarethMyles.com, where I have this and that and a bit of the other. Ted, where can they find you?
At tedsalmon.com, where you'll find links to all of our audio podcasts and all of our MeWe groups, so do come and join us and listen to all the other stuff we do. And if you want to buy me a coffee to say thank you for the aforementioned, it's at paypal.me/tedsalmon.
Awesome. Well, we will be taking a break, and we'll be back in June with another rip-roaring show full of this, that, and the other. Don't know why I've got that in my head today, but
don't tell AJ. We'll get told off.
Oh yes, that's true. Yes. Well,
he doesn't like these gaps.
No, but we'll catch us all in June for more tech stuff. Bye.
Goodbye. Have a lovely summer. Well, beginning of summer.
What a happy ending. Quite the outro.